It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Glad y'all here. You know, one of the things that this week has taught me is that I need to help shine a little light on some of my biases and why I think and do the things I do. You know, I'm the sixth child of 7, and all my siblings are introverts. Both my parents are introverts, and my only child is an introvert. In fact, I remember the very first gift I recall getting. It's not the first one I got. It's the one I recall getting. Was a plaque that said, "Dear Lord, help me this day to keep my big mouth shut." I was different. Fast forward, I'm 7 years old, and I meet a little girl named Kalia Eldridge. Kalia's an introvert, but she's not like the ones in my family. She don't tell me shut up. Kalia's got a very kind spirit, and she listens and I talk. We friends. Kalia happens to be Muslim, and for whatever reason, I don't even remember why I end up at the mosque with her one day. And very pleasant, peaceful experience. And so, of course, because I'm a little Bible-thumping Christian at the time, I invite Kalia to go to my church. And I remember vividly that day there was a really strong emphasis on, if you didn't believe in the birth, life, death, resurrection of Jesus, that you were going to hell. And I recall being incredibly embarrassed. You know, you fast forward to when I was in engineering. If you haven't figured out by now, I don't have the personality of an engineer. I can integrate a wall, but I don't have a personality. In one of my early engineering assignments, I wanted to help a gentleman named Rick clean up the soil outside of our manufacturing plant. It had been contaminated with solvents. And Rick had a connection who helped us find out that phytoremediation through trees, genetically altered poplars, could clean up the soil. And these trees were super cheap because they weren't all that pretty, about $1 each. And we only needed 100 of them. Total project cost $100. Over the course of the years, this organization had spent hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million, on soil, not cleanup, just monitoring and giving information to the state. Because some people would say that, Nicole, was because of your race that you couldn't get the $100. Some people would say it was because of your gender you couldn't get the $100. Some people would say it was because of your communication style, all of that talking, you couldn't get the $100. But I will tell you that it was truly this conceptual, theoretical, out there way of thinking that I have. Doesn't always fit when you work with people who are practical and they need to see it. And conceptual and theoretical feels kind of irresponsible and woo-woo, you little libtard. Rick and I don't know, I think Rick might have spent his money. I don't think I spent mine. And we planted the trees and the soil's all cleared up and everything worked out fine. Why do I tell you that story? Because some people work in the field of diversity and inclusion because they think they helping the underrepresented folk. Not me. This ain't about me. You have no earthly idea what you losing out on when you exclude people. You see, when you're the sixth child of 7, ain't nobody paying no attention to you. You know everything that's going on. And if you would have listened to me, could have kept a whole lot of people out of a whole lot of situations. Because I had information that nobody else have. You know, Miss Little Kalia, with her little Muslim self, praying 5 times a day, at least. My Bible at the time said pray without ceasing. And that God listens to those people who petition. And so, baby, some of y'all, it's so obvious when you open your mouth to pray aloud that you ain't got no practice. You better hope that Miss Kalia praying to God about something. At 7. This ain't about Kalia. Leave her out. She gonna see her God. You. When the last time you talked to God? At 7, I realized this. And it was so clear to me that if Kalia's parents were my parents and vice versa, she would be Christian, I would be Muslim. Makes no sense to leave her out. That $100, you think that $100 is breaking my pocket? You think you ain't letting me do that project, that you hurting me? No, you're not hurting me. You hurting your profit sharing. And so when I think about the millions and billions of people that we want to leave out of the discussion, this ain't about them necessarily. Yeah, it ain't the nice thing to do to leave them out. But you hurting yourself, baby. Exclusion hurts you. And the other thing that I have learned over time is that whenever I'm in the power position, whatever that is, I get to be the one who creates the law. I get to be the one who decides what works or not. I get to be the one to write what I think God thinks. The hypocritical nature of people who are Christian, just like I am, is so pervasive that I have been concerning myself with only the red parts for 20 years. What did Jesus say? You do what Jesus said. Don't tell me what Paul said. Don't tell me what Abraham said. If you believe Jesus and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and Jesus is God, 3 in 1, one true living God, you tell me what Jesus said about that. And you do what Jesus say. Because God ain't pleased, I don't think. And let me tell you what I know for sure. This is what I know for sure. Some of y'all new Christians, welcome to the fold, baby. Glad you're here. But you better act like you got some God-loving sense when you talking to me. Because I want you to remember 6 Child of 7. I want you to remember Miss Kalia. I want you to remember that when Michael Charles came to my church, that one of the best musicians in my city, that somehow we start talking about homosexuality because Michael Charles gay. And you think I'm sitting there every time that church door open, you think I don't see it? I felt like I could have been T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, and it were men in the church who told me God didn't think that I could be a preacher or a pastor because I have a vagina. The church is in a different place because of your own personal discrimination. So don't come to me in 2020 telling me about what's a sin. People who are gay, almost all of them are born that way. And you know it. You see your little nieces and nephews walking around and they don't quite fit very solidly into your definitions of gender, or it's very obvious that they have feminine or masculine preferences. You know it because you have gender reveal parties. And then as people get older, you want to somehow, even though you don't think you can be changed from straight to gay, you believe in your heart that folks can be changed from gay to straight. It's ridiculous. It's a belief. It is not factual. It is based on laws and systems and rules that say you, because you are not like me, I'm going to leave you out. And this is detrimental to gay people. But let me tell you what, you don't know what we would be missing if it weren't for the Michael Charles of the world, the Bayard Rustins of the world, who helped with the civil rights movement. You tell me you like Martin Luther King, but you don't accept Bayard Rustin. Get out of my face. You're a hypocrite. God don't like it. Jesus didn't command it. And stop saying add prayer in schools. You can pray in any school in the United States of America. What you cannot do is make other people pray with you to your God. It's Filter Free Friday. We got work to do.